in life, and that's why when I wrote this book, I was realizing that I had been playing myself all along.
Shirley MacLaine will take a break from playing herself.
What if your 14-year-old boy comes home in tears one day? The kids at school have bullied him and called him names, or somebody hits him with a rock on his way home, or worse, 3 or 4 boys gang up on him and the beating requires emergency treatment just because he's different. Sound far-fetched? Well, it's not, especially if the boy is gay. Adolescence is the time when you realize that you belong. Adolescence can be a difficult time for any young person, but for the homosexual adolescents, the experience can be especially traumatic. Steve Ashkinazy is the clinical director to the Institute for the Protection of Gay and Lesbian Youth in New York City. It operates an alternative school known as the Harvey Milk High School. It's designed for gay youngsters with special problems. And it's nice to have you with us.
Good morning.
I'd like us to start out, because you grew up as a gay person. What is it like for a young teen to be dealing with this?
It's so difficult. That's why I really understand and why I enjoy the work that I do now. I knew that I was gay from the time I was 12, and by the time I was 14, the need to go out and meet other people like myself was so great that I left all of the support systems I knew without telling my family or my friends in school. I needed to go places, and the only places that were available were bars, were very, degenerate types of areas, which I would not recommend for any youngster. But the need was so great that I had to seek them out.
That you were really cutting off family and friends, and for you, your religion, Orthodox Jew,
Yeah.
it must have been a very difficult thing to turn your back on all of that.
Yes. What's difficult for a young person coming out and realizing that they're gay is that they have not had any preparation. I mean, they might know that they're Jewish or Catholic or black or from Brooklyn or whatever, but suddenly they discover that they're also part of a culture that they've never met, and they have and all the support systems that they've had, their church, their religion, are
and
no
to top
longer.
it off, though, and that is socially unacceptable, and particularly from the parents' point of view.
In fact, in most cases, all of the support systems, their family, their church, their friends, their school, probably have given them messages that this is a very bad thing to be, that this is sinful, it's sick, it's immoral.
What does the Institute do to try to help combat all of these things?
Okay, at the Institute for the Protection of Lesbian and Gay Youth, we have it's a social service program. We provide counseling, not only to the youngsters, but also to many families who are willing to come in. We provide social and recreational programs and rap groups. And as we find the need, we develop programs. That's why we developed the Harvey Milk School, because we discovered that many of our youngsters had so much trouble going to school because they felt different, or because they were perceived as being different and were victims of violence, that they had dropped out or were just chronically truant, or we had bright kids who were just failing everything because all they did was sit in class and worry about getting picked on.
Because you do get picked on, and not only that, I mean, just so that other parents might identify here, it's not just the gay youth. It might even be the youth that goes to school and is a touch effeminate, or, dresses in a certain way. So they're also getting picked on. A couple questions. Are all the teachers gay?
Well, at the Institute for the Protection of Lesbian and Gay Youth and at the Harvey Milk School, we make a point of hiring a staff that is mixed. We have both heterosexual and homosexual staff members, because we feel that on the one hand, we want the youngsters to have role models who are gay so that they know, I can grow up and I can be a professional person.
Okay.
I can grow up and be anything I want. But it's also important for them to realize that they live in a society that is made up of many kind of people, and it's important for them to know that they can be accepted.
That's the other point. Is the idea to get them back into the mainstream and rather than ostracize them in one school?
Yes, one of the misconceptions about the school has been that we try to segregate kids, and in fact it works as a transitional program for most of the youngsters, which means that if we can get them back into a learning environment, we can make them realize that how important it is to go to school, and also make them realize that if they learn to feel good about themselves, they can get along better with people. That it rolls off your back. If you feel good about yourself, no matter how much somebody taunts you, it's not going to impede you from achieving your goals. And so with the combination of the counseling program and the time they spend at the Harvey Milk School, in most cases we can mainstream them back into mainstream high school settings.
What about the ones that are out there in all those other mainstream schools that aren't going to get to your school?
Well, those are the youngsters who haven't had a serious crisis yet, and that's most gay kids. We only have, we've only worked with about 40 kids in the school in the 1 year that we've been in operation. Most kids manage to get through the crises with some scars, you know, they're feeling bad about themselves, and that's what we take care of at the Institute, of course, helping them deal and cope with those problems that they're going to be facing.
But they're all facing them. What do you say to the parents out there?
Okay, there's a number of messages I have for parents. One, if you know that your son or your daughter is gay, don't feel guilty about it. It's nothing that you did. Society puts a lot of pressure on parents, making them think that they must have done something wrong in raising their kids, and that sometimes leads to, the guilt sometimes leads to them throwing the kids out or being violent or angry with them. But there's another message too, because this issue affects so many more people than realize it. I have heard so many stories from parents who wonder why their children aren't closer to them, why they move to cities far away, why they don't come home for the holidays. And many of them wonder why their kids aren't closer to them and don't even know that the reason is because their sons or daughters are gay and are afraid that if they come home, they might have to talk about it, and are afraid to face their parents and say that because they think that they might be rejected.
But they really want to go home.
They want to go home. They want to be close, and they separate themselves because they're more afraid of the real rejection, so it's easy to run away than face being rejected by your parents.
Steve, thank you.
Thanks.
As parents, one of our most important duties is to support our children. They need to know that they can depend on us for guidance and understanding and love. Adolescent children who are homosexual are often faced with more hurdles than the average child, and so for them especially, that need is a strong one. Remember, acceptance begins at home. I'm Joan Lunden. See you next time.